Welcome back to another JBM episode, and this time we are discussing giving you our finals predictions. We also have a very special guest with us. We have Nick Stumpo. Of course, he's the brother to Joe. He's the better brother, though. So I don't know why we got stuck with Joe instead of Nick, but we're going to break down everything and give you our predictions as to why maybe we feel the way we do as to the outcomes of whatever's going to happen in this finals. So, I mean, I'm very excited. Obviously, we're all Knicks fans here, except Ben. Sorry, he'll be soon. We're converting him.
Nah.
But in reality, we want to shoot it over to Nick. We'll let you obviously take the floor. You're the guest with us today, so you got to be excited first of all that the Knicks are in this position, that they are in the finals. But break it down. Go get into it.
First of all, thank you again for having me back. Absolutely. I appreciate it. But yeah, listen. We all know we're all old enough to experience the struggles that the Knicks have had over the past 30 years. I'm very excited. I'm obviously going to go with all the struggles that we've had. It makes it this much more exciting that they've made it this far. Did I expect them to make it to the finals this year? I mean, sort of. I kind of did, just because of the progression that we took from 2 years ago to last year. But if I was to backtrack and say how awful it was to watch them for that long, and it's because I tuned into all 82 games every single year, whether they won 17 games or they won 50 games. And my greatest Knick memory probably of the 90s, early 2000s is when me and Joe went to a Knicks Sixers game and Nate Robinson hit a corner three
to win the game,
overtime to win the game. I think I was like 9 maybe at the time, something like that. And that's my greatest Knick memory. Like Nate Robinson hitting that corner three, and you don't really have like really other great memories to hold your hat on. We don't really have like individual performers. Like, yeah, we've had Carmelo Anthony. I love Carmelo Anthony, but he didn't have anybody. So we didn't have much success. So it really wasn't like a great time for a Knick fan. Now I'm very excited. I can't wait to see what happens. The Spurs are, I think, a phenomenal team. I honestly had the Spurs winning in 7. I thought they were going to win. Maybe because I just really don't like OKC that much, like on a personal level. So I just wanted the Spurs to win. But yeah, I'm just very excited, and I can't wait for it to get underway. And I hope we haven't had too long of a break again. And I'm just ready for things to get rolling.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I mean, listen, we watched Knicks games, like you said, for years, to the point where we almost expected them to win 15 to 20 games a year. I mean, we knew it was just going to be bad basketball from top to bottom. And we went through a plethora of coaches. I mean, David Fizdale, Jeff Hornacek, it was horrible. Then we finally get Mike Woodson, and Mike Woodson looked like he was going to be the guy to get us over the hump. That didn't work. And then enter Tibbs. And Tibbs really, I have to say, he changed the culture of this team. And obviously the one bad thing was that he couldn't trust his bench, which was the end all be all of Thibodeau. But he at least changed the culture when it came to winning basketball for New York. And then you bring in a guy like Mike Brown, right? You fire Tibbs, and it's like, what next? Who's going to be able to take this group to the next level? And they didn't do much tinkering, the Knicks. That they got Jordan Clarkson. They added a couple other pieces, along the lines as well. Obviously, adding Alvarado in the middle of the season, but they didn't go too crazy with the tinkering of their lineup. And they get Mike Brown. And obviously, every Knicks fan's question was, is Mike Brown going to be good enough to get this team to the next level? And it really was. He really was the guy that I don't think anybody else would have been able to do it. I think Mike Brown was the perfect hire. I think he resonates in that room. I think, he actually maybe has a very nice individual relationship with each player. I think he makes each player feel comfortable. I don't think he makes anybody bigger than what they are. And he doesn't, a guy like Brunson is the superstar of this team. I don't think he treats Brunson like he's a superstar of this team. I think everybody gets treated equally, and everybody has a job to do. And I think he holds everybody accountable. And you know what? Everybody has a job, but especially the bench. These bench guys that maybe would have not played under a guy like Thibodeau are making an impact for this team. And the Knicks look like they're an offensive juggernaut. So, there were times where, you looked at this organization after an 82-game season and you're like, I don't think we're ever going to be there. The Knicks will just never be able to make the playoffs. Forget about an NBA Finals appearance. Me and my brother always thought that they would not be good enough to even make the playoffs. We just never saw the light at the end of the tunnel. And, us being Yankee fans, we had the Yankees to really put our hopes on. It was the only organization, that we rooted for that had any type of success and that was going to be competitive year in and year out. And it was just really tough to watch. And then finally, the last, 4 or 5 seasons, the Knicks have been a competitive organization. And now here we are, 4 games away of potentially crowning them a champion. So I can't be more excited. I think the city is gonna be like Gotham if they win. I think the Statue of Liberty is gonna be brought up 7th Avenue, right out of the Hudson, and it's gonna be complete mayhem. And I really hope that happens. I think the city needs something like this, and I think New York as a whole needs a championship. And when New York is on top, especially in the sports world, there's no better place to be.
Yeah, and you know what? This is the finals matchup I wanted all along. Like, deep down, I knew that if OKC did make it to the finals, all right, that would have been one thing. But with San Antonio and what they've achieved this year, a lot of people say, oh, they're a year early, maybe 2 years early in their rebuild and retooling. Obviously, this is only Mitch Johnson's first full year as the head coach there. Popovich era has come and gone. I really look at this team, though. Both teams, very two different teams. The Spurs are more of a homegrown team via the draft with Castle, Harper. And you look at the Knicks, though, the contrary. They built that team through trades. I think they only have one homegrown player, and that's Mitchell Robinson, I think. That was the only player currently on the roster that they've drafted. So it's two completely different teams, but I think that this matchup is so enticing because the way that both Mitch Johnson and Mike Brown coach their respective teams, man, this is going to be a clash for the ages because I don't see a guy on the Spurs that is going to stop Brunson, but I don't see a guy on the Knicks that is going to stop Wemby. So it's like something's going to have to give right here. I think Castle's going to do what he can, but me and JB talked about it a lot. He has turnover issues, and how's that going to play out in a long series? Another one. And Karl-Anthony Towns, the only thing I'll say to Cat is just as long as he keeps shooting the 3-ball consistently, the Knicks have a great shot of winning this series. And I really think the biggest X factor for the Knicks, in my opinion, this series is going to be Mikal Bridges because I've always said it in all the other videos I've done here talking about the Knicks. 15 points and up for Mikal Bridges, the Knicks have a 90% chance of winning that game. And that's the bottom line right there. OG, obviously, as well. I think OG has been very consistent, though. For their Spurs, I think their biggest X factor got to be Dylan Harper. I mean, it has to be. Like, I think this kid is such a stud for only being his first year in the league. And, I mean, to be quite honest, he's outshined De'Aaron Fox a multitude of times in this series. And not this series, but this season. And, yeah, it's going to be super exciting. But I think this is going to be a collision course for the ages right here.
So, if I can, Ben, you brought up something that I'm glad you did because it perfectly segued into a thought that I wanted to get out there. It was something I saw today. I happened to catch the Pat McAfee show, and there is one player that I believe it's at least a minimum of 100 minutes on the floor or guarding, whatever, however it was broken down, that has guarded Wembanyama, has given up the least amount of points. Well, that's his man. That guy is OG Anunoby. So that is very encouraging to me. The other side of it, I think OG and a combination of him and Mikal Bridges as a whole, not just on Wemby, will be obviously giving the Spurs offense fits overall because they have the defensive ability to, I wouldn't say stop anybody, but at least disrupt multiple different types of players. They've shown that. To what you said about Mikal Bridges, when he scores 15 and up and he's playing efficient defense, that is an amazingly dangerous weapon for the Knicks. I love that aspect on him. Towns has to spread the floor, and I think that's what they're going to lean on because I think that's been the biggest part of their success, getting them to this final, the way that they kind of changed their offense in the middle of a playoff series and put the ball through Towns, and that completely changed everything. Now, if you bring Wembanyama from underneath the rim to now the top of the key or anywhere where Towns is, unless you're now, what are you going to do? You're going to stick somebody smaller on Towns? He's going to fire at will. So what are you going to try to accomplish there? Are you going to try to spread the floor and have Wemby be out there with Towns? Now that eliminates the ability for offensive rebounds. The Knicks could do a lot of different things. What if they also throw a combination of Towns and Mitchell Robinson in the game at the same time? Now you got Towns out, spreading the floor, and you have Mitchell Robinson waiting for the offensive rebound. I think this series is going to be very tough. I think it's not going to be what we've seen, at least on the Knicks end, where they've, steamrolled since game 3 of the first round. I don't think that's what it's going to be. So, again, I'm very excited for this. You guys want me to throw my prediction out there to start? And then we could discuss it, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
All right. So, not that I'm going to be a homer, and I'm not saying it or anything like that. Knicks in 6. I'm sorry. The way they're playing, it is unbelievable. This is arguably for me the best Knicks team I have ever seen play. They have done things that we've never seen before. With this 11-game winning streak, the point differential is the most in history. This has been, regardless of opponent, regardless of strength. I don't want to hear that. Look at the last 5 NBA champions and look at the seeding of who they played to get themselves to the finals. So get that thought out of your head. I honestly think this is one of the best teams I have ever seen, in my personal opinion. I'm going Knicks in 6.
Bold. I like it. Nick, what do you got?
Just to piggyback a little bit, just in terms of the series itself, I totally agree with Cat has to be in control of the whole offense, because Brunson has not been playing like the typical point guard that he usually plays throughout the season, bringing the ball up in that sense. So if we continue to play like that and just use Brunson as, okay, now we need you to go get a bucket because this is what you can go do, then I think, like you said, if we could take Wemby underneath the rim, from underneath the rim, that'll be phenomenal. But also the Spurs, they have very good shooters. So I'm scared of that, but I have full confidence in OG and Mikal to be able to guard Vassell or Champagny or any one of their shooters. I'm a little concerned of how we're going to deal with De'Aaron Fox, because they're definitely going to attack Brunson. And every single one of them can attack Brunson. So if we could do a good job of hiding Brunson without taking away too much defensively from our team, then I think also Knicks in 6.
Well, my keys are a little bit probably the same. I think it's for the Spurs. I think the success, obviously, if Wembanyama is going to be what he is, then they're just going to go how Wembanyama goes. But for the sake of the argument, I think that Knicks have to stop their guards, like you said, Nick. Their guards they're very good shooters. They have very good shooting bench players as well. I think you're probably going to have to put a little bit of emphasis on stopping a guy like De'Aaron Fox. I think Stephon Castle is another guy, and Keldon Johnson is another guy that you're going to have to try to stop as well. You don't want those guys getting hot. I think if you put those guys, in a bucket of who you have to defend more, yeah, obviously you want to kind of cut the head off of the shoulders and the torso. So you'd probably go after De'Aaron Fox and try to make his life uncomfortable, and you force a guy like Castle, Vassell, and Johnson beat you, and try to have them make some big shots. But then again, I think if that's the case, you're gonna have guys like OG and McBride who should be able to lock them up. I think, yes, those guys are key when it comes to the Spurs' success, but I think better defenders could stop them. And I think OG and Mikal Bridges have the ability to do that. And I think if you, like I said, on the offensive side now for the Knicks, if they're going to run the offense through Cat and do what they're doing and shoot the ball the way they were shooting, I don't think anybody's going to be able to stop them. I really don't. And I'm not saying this as a fan. Like I said, I know we're trying to clear that air and we're not trying to look like bandwagoners here, but you can't really call us bandwagon fans when the Knicks have never been as consistently good as they've been in the last 5 years. But
I'm sorry. I have to stop you for 1 second. There is no way on the face of the earth that any one of us in this room, and obviously Ben not included, he's a Bucks fan. We are not bandwagon fans.
No, I know,
and I'm going to say this, like I said off air. We used to get hyped when Jared Jeffries used to get checked into a game to catch a charge. That's what our excitement was as Knicks fans. That's the Knicks fans that we are.
Sorry,
I had to get that out.
A guy named Tingus Pingus. So
Tingus Pingus. That's what we get hyped for. We don't even know who that guy is. We didn't know who that was. Like what? He turned out to be great. He was a great Knick. He got us some nice picks. I'm sorry, I had to interrupt that because there is no way anybody is going to call any of us Knicks fans in this podcast right now a bandwagon. That's not happening.
There's people out there that'll say, "Oh, of course you're going to pick the Knicks," but listen, the Knicks haven't been struggling this entire postseason, and I know this is a little corny to say, we did beat them in the NBA Cup. So we've seen this before. We've seen this team before. We know what they're about. They're going to run their offense through Wemby, right? Obviously. If Wemby's going to be the guy that starts shooting threes and starts sinking shots on us, then we're going to have a problem. I don't think that's the case. I think if you keep Wemby moving his feet and keeping him uncomfortable, I think the Knicks are going to have a really good time playing in this series. I really do. I think there's going to be a lot of positive things that come out of this series if they do what they did the last series. If they could have Cat run the offense through him and you keep Wemby out of the bottom of the basket, like you said, Mike, that to me is key. And if they could pair Mitchell Robinson and Cat in the same lineup, and you have a guy that's ready to get offensive rebounds and kick it back out, that's going to be another key too. But I do want to see Cat shoot the ball more. I've been saying this all postseason. I want to see Cat shoot the ball more. I don't want to see him shoot 5 or 6 times in a game and him be a point guard. I'd rather him be a point guard and be able to shoot. He has the ability to shoot the three. If you're open, shoot the ball. I mean, all he did was brag about how he's the best shooting big man. So shoot. I want you to shoot. You have the ability to score 20 points with your eyes closed. If he does that, the Knicks are unbeatable. I'm sorry. We talk about OG. We talk about, guys like Bridges. If they score 15 to 20, if we have a guy like Cat score 20 points, this Knicks team could put up 140 points with their eyes closed. And by the way, Knicks in 7.
Love it.
So to conclude with it, obviously I don't have a horse in this race, but I do hope that the Knicks win this championship because I feel like how you guys have alluded to it. I mean, the Knicks fans have gone through a shit ton of suffering. I mean, you're talking about Lexi Sved, Louis Munson. We're talking about like guys that are obviously jobbers, but they were courageous jobbers because a lot of Knicks fans grew to love them. You know what I mean? So, I'll say that. I don't think I'll say this about Wemby though, because I don't want to forget this point. I haven't seen a guy with this level of competitiveness in so fucking long in the NBA. It is absolutely insane how much he cares about it. Like you saw him crying after they made it to the finals. And maybe that's a thing that's been lost in the NBA in the past few years, maybe 5 to 10 years, especially with not trying to get into the politics and the atmosphere of the NBA and everything like that. But I feel like we haven't really seen that type of killer mentality for an NBA player like we do see with Wemby. But I think the whole Brunson story, the underdog story, because, a lot of people, when Brunson came to the Knicks and got signed for the contract he got signed for, can that guy really be a number one option? Can that guy really lead a team to the NBA Finals and win a championship? A lot of critics were out there for that Brunson move. Stephen A. Smith was one of them. He was saying that he's not a Kawhi Leonard type of player. He's not a Kevin Durant type of player. He's not, but he's Jalen Brunson, and what he's going to give you in the big moments. He'll take over a quarter like snap of a finger. The guy does it so effortlessly on the offensive end. But finally, when it comes to my prediction, I will say it was tough because I do see this series going 7 regardless. And the fact that the Spurs are minus 205 to win this the championship, and the Knicks are, I believe, plus 178. I got to go with the Knicks in 7. It just makes sense. It makes sense. It's the year that I feel like a lot of Knicks fans were finally waiting for. I got to give a lot of credit to Mike Brown for getting them here to the NBA Finals because he's done a tremendous job with this team and this bench. And I do feel like that's a great point right there. I do feel like the Knicks bench is better than the Spurs bench. And throughout a 7-game series, I trust McBride. I think Landry Shamit's going to have a game where he goes crazy from 3. Yeah, I'm going to go with Knicks in 7. That's my final prediction.
And I think this is a huge point that I feel like nobody's really gauging or really talking about all that much because the focus is always Brunson and everything he's doing and everybody, everything that has happened so far with this run and the point differential, the winning streak, that's all being a huge distraction. And I think it's a great distraction because I think the Knicks are playing team basketball. It's yes, Brunson has his moments and Towns has his moments and Shaman has it. All these guys are doing that, but they're making the extra passes. They're not playing to be the guy. They're playing to be a unit, a team. And to me, I think that's the most impressive part about this. And listen, it's one thing to try to stop one guy. It's a lot different when you're trying to stop a group that is collectively bought in to everything that they're doing. Every player is completely bought into the role that they have and they're executing. And if, a guy like McBride comes in and shoots, 4 open threes and misses all 4 of them, that whole squad is going to turn around and say, oh, you didn't do anything wrong. You were the open man. You took the shot. They'll fall. Keep shooting. And I feel like that's the mentality this team has. And I think that's potentially, to me, the biggest key to the success of this playoff run.
Yeah, that's a great point. One point I did want to make is, obviously, I said the biggest X factor for me personally was Mikal Bridges. And for him, I think this is going to be the biggest series of his life, obviously. Or, yeah, in general, because I know he made it to the NBA Finals with Phoenix. But, look, they traded 5 first-round picks for you, bro. And I don't think they wouldn't give a shit. As long as they win the championship, it was all worth it. It was all worth those first 5. Every Knicks fans can absolutely agree with that, without a doubt. But you got to step up how you've been stepping up, bro. We don't need an inconsistent Mikal Bridges. We need the Mikal Bridges that, yeah, like Mike said, can possibly even take over a quarter if needed, bring great defense. I did want to make that point about him.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I think that's going to be the biggest key is if they could lock down their guards. Like, I think the biggest key to the Knicks is OG and Bridges. I'll say that. And defensively, if they can keep up their defensive prowess on that side of the ball and stop their guards from scoring, I think the Knicks will be fine. And if they do what they could do offensively and put up 15 plus, they're going to be just fine. And I think that's the biggest key is what they've been showing throughout the entirety of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the offense, honestly, because I think if Brunson gets locked up a little bit, then we got OG, then we got Mikal, then we got Towns, we got Shaman, we got Deuce. I'm worried. I think game 1 is going to be a huge sign of how the rest of the series goes because the Knicks haven't had to deal with such length yet. They have a pretty big team. So we've seen Brunson struggle with guys that are a lot taller than him. So I think what Mike said before, now that we're playing like a team, I think that's going to help us even more because now we don't need Brunson to bring up the ball 100 times a game and waste his energy for no reason. So I think their length is going to be our biggest challenge. And depending on how we lose or win game 1, that'll determine how we're able to break them down because we do have a better bench and they play almost all their stars almost 40 plus minutes a game. And now we've had a bigger rest again than they have. And if they're going to continue to do that, then we'll see. But they do have Keldon Johnson, who's like their all around bench player. So like, I really feel like he's like their Josh Hart of the team, but a little bit of a shooter. He's a better shooter. But I think if they get through that length, then I think they should be fine. And I'm not discrediting the Spurs too, because Wembanyama is the best player in this series. But their length is going to be our biggest challenge, I think.
I agree with that.
Totally. If I could just give one final thought, and then we'll jump into our finals MVP predictions, if that's cool. Something that I think this is a pretty big thing to maybe say for the future. These two organizations are potentially set up for a very nice future. Obviously, the Knicks are in a different situation. They have a lot more money and some expiring contracts coming up in the next few years. But with the way these guys are and the way they coexist, I mean, this could be almost, maybe this is bold, but a second coming to what Golden State did, where they had Mark Jackson as their head coach, and he couldn't get over that point. They did the same thing with Thibodeau, moved on to the Knicks, moved on to Mike Brown. Golden State moved on to Steve Kerr. The rest is history. As far as the Spurs go, I don't think essentially if they win or lose this finals, I don't think it has the impact that it does in New York. Because let's be real here, the Spurs are a great team. They have the future of the NBA on their team right now.
That's a good point.
I think he is going to be the best player potentially we have ever seen, as long as he stays healthy. With that being said, the Spurs are not going to have an issue getting back to the finals. I don't think the Knicks are essentially either. If they continue to play this brand of basketball for the foreseeable future, I don't think they're going to have a problem either. But it is a hard thing to get back to the finals. We're guaranteed another new champion, I think 8 years running now. But like I said, I don't think the Spurs are going to have any issue getting to the finals in the future. I think they're only going to go up from here. I only think they're going to get better. Their coach is 39 years old in his first season. They have a very bright future. They could be the second coming of the Popovich Duncan era. And I hate to say that because it started with the Knicks in beating us in 99. I hate to say that and put that out there, but it is reality. Unfortunately, let's not have that happen. But I will say this. Finals MVP, could it be nobody other? You guys are all going to say Brunson. Josh Hart, baby. Let's go.
I like that.
I actually, I like that. I'm gonna go OG Anunoby. Actually, I think OG to me is gonna be a guy that comes up with a big steal or a big defensive game when he locks someone down and he puts up a couple of 22 to 23 point nights and has really good shooting nights. And I think he's gonna be the guy that wins it. I was gonna go Cat and have him, shock everybody and be the winner, but I'm gonna go OG here. I think OG has a little bit more upside.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Brunson. I mean, it's the obvious one, obviously, right? But I mean, I see him averaging like roughly 28, maybe even 30 points this series. I mean, I really don't. Just like I know he doesn't play great defense, I don't see a Spurs guard, even though they do have the athleticism, stopping him, especially in fourth quarters where he's gonna need to be a clutch and have his clutch moments. I don't know who's gonna stop Brunson, and honestly, I think he's gonna have a great series. So give me Brunson for Finals MVP.
I'm going with Brunson too, because even at the end of the day, we were talking about playing like a team, and Mikel's going to do this, and OG's going to do that, and Cat continues to do what he's going to do. At the end of the day, we need Jalen Brunson to be Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, that's true.
So if he does what he's supposed to do, and maybe one game he doesn't score 30 and he drops 15 and 9, but that's what we need him to do that day. So at the end of the day, if he does what he's supposed to do, I gotta go with Jalen.
I'm gonna make another bold take before we end this, and this is potential the reason why I'm saying Josh Hart. Josh Hart will have a triple-double in this finals.
Oh wow, okay.
I can see that. I can see
it happening. I mean, he's capable of doing it almost any night. If it's just who gets, if him or Cat gets more of the rebounds.
I personally really do hope the series does go 7. I think it's such a fitting way to end what I feel like has been an incredible NBA playoffs, other than OKC flopping their ass off. Like, I really loved so far this NBA playoff. It's been great. And I could just imagine how that would feel on a Saturday night, Game 7 for all the marbles, how everybody in both the respective cities would feel. Man, that's
quit playing, bro.
Yeah,
I thought we were friends, Ben. You're trying to give the three of us heart attacks. I
was gonna say that's why I picked Knicks in 6, because I don't even want to see a Game 7. So
I don't think I can handle it. I genuinely don't think I can handle it. So yeah.
I can't even handle with them winning. I can't even handle with them winning in 4. Could you imagine going to 7? It's like crazy. No, but this is going to be. I think this is the best possible series that we could have asked for. I mean, even with OKC, if they would have won, I think it would have been a great series. But one of those two teams, it would have been a great series, and I think they match up very well with San Antonio, and San Antonio matches up well with us too. So it's going to be who punches harder. That's basically it.
Listen, I'll say this. If it was OKC and SGA was pulling that flopping stuff all over MSG, they would have had to sneak him out through the secret tunnels under the city to get him out safe.
How about this? If it was OKC, right? I guarantee SGA would have been told, you cannot flop in this series. They would have came to him and been like, listen, just save that stuff for next season. You can't.
It would be like that scene in Little Nicky. Like, you better win these people some free pizza because they're going crazy. I feel like that's what it would have been like.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy, but oh man, I can't wait for Wednesday, man. This is just crazy.
I'm amped for Wednesday. I really am.
Crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I do hope the Knicks win it in general, though, because like when I experienced the Bucks winning the championship in 2021, it's just like it was so surreal. Because talk about bad Knicks teams, I went through a shit ton of bad Bucks teams. Like, growing up, like, oh my gosh, tell me about it. Like that feeling, knowing that how can any of us here be bandwagons? All the suffering we went through, it gotta be worth it some way, somehow. And I do hope the Knicks prevail, because also the imagery and the scenery after, the parade or whatever it may be. No, that night. I wonder how that night in it by itself will look in New York.
I'm just letting you know, I don't want to cut you off. If the Knicks win, whether they're in New York or in San Antonio, I am driving to Manhattan. If nobody wants to come, that's fine. I'm willing to get arrested. I'm willing to get locked up. I don't care. I'm doing.
Jalen said he was thinking about going into the party watch, like outside the stadium, if they win.
Wow.
But then he said he saw what happened to J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith got like knocked to the ground, I think.
Yeah, he got knocked. Yeah, yes.
But can you imagine if Brunson goes out there?
No.
7th Avenue will split into two. Like it would literally split.
You might as well just give him like a chariot with the whole like king's crown and just have him walk up 7th Avenue if that's
honestly, I feel like that might be the safest place for him to be, as wild as that's gonna say.
That's actually not for nothing. We would probably make sure that he's safe.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Precious cargo. Protect that man at all costs.
Precious cargo is right. But I'm going. Listen, if you guys want to come, bro, if you want to fly down, you're more than welcome. Mike and Nick,
we could discuss it off air.
Listen, if you guys got nothing to do, I'm definitely willing to go absolutely crazy.
Unfortunately for JB's wife, it wouldn't be as best timing for bailing him out of jail. She's he's gonna give birth in the next month.
Listen, but you know what? When my son is born, they could tell legends. They could tell stories about his legendary father and how he went to Manhattan and was burning at the stake. And
listen, Jay, this is what friends are for. The wife's not gonna know a thing. You got 3 of us right here. You'll be bailed out. Nobody's gonna know nothing.
Thank you.
We'll tell her after it's over with. We don't need to stress her out.
I could actually get home in a good enough time and she won't even realize I was out. How about that?
Just in time for dinner.
Next day, baby. Next day.
Let's do it. Listen, guys, everybody out there, we appreciate you guys hanging with us. Giving us our predictions. Obviously, allowing you to be a part of this. It's always great. We really do appreciate you. We love to see the views, the likes, the comments. We want to see them now. We want to see you guys light up the comments. Let us know who's crazy, who's the craziest, completely disagree with us. Tell us Spurs in 4, Knicks in 4, whatever you guys want to say. Tell us Wemby's the baddest man on the planet. I don't care. Write it in the comment section. Be respectful, but in the same breath, obviously we want to see that. We want to see your predictions, and then maybe afterwards we could discuss it. We'll maybe highlight the best comment, if that's something we could do. Maybe we'll have an exact pick because maybe none of us got it right, so we'll see. Maybe it's Knicks in 5. Maybe it's Spurs in 5. We don't know. I also want to give a very big special thanks to Nick. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being a part of this. We always love having you up with us and talking. We got to do this more. We got to get you here more. And the other thing I have to thank you for is subtly shouting out a good friend of mine. You guys can't really see it on camera. Good friend of mine, PMF, who does now religiously. He's becoming a sportsman because of this podcast. But the reason why I'm shouting that out is because my man Nick has a Dr. Pepper shirt on, and he says to PMF, no Mr. Pibb. Sorry, but it is what it is, guys. Listen, only he's going to understand that, so I apologize.
Also, my brother was named Nick for the Knicks. No, I'm just lying. That's not.
Oh man.
But listen, guys, like I said, we do appreciate you. And until next time, hopefully the next time we record this basketball video, not going to be because there's going to be a few, but we will be having a Knicks celebration video.
Oh,
we'll see you then.